seated.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, on the radio, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, on podcasts everywhere, and on talklawradio.com. Here today with Louis Vetter, president of the Conservation Society of San Antonio, talking about a lawsuit that was filed against UTSA and City of San Antonio to stop UTSA from demolishing the State of Texas Pavilion building, formerly home of the Institute for Texan Cultures. And we've been taking calls because we want to hear from the people about whether that building should be demolished or not. Do you want another Spurs stadium to be there, or do you want the city to save their money and fix our streets? Do you want that building to be preserved for history? We're going to talk all about that and more. Louis, I want to ask you straight up, is the Conservation Society of San Antonio against Project Marvel?
No. There's elements of it which make plenty of sense. There's a lot of opportunities. And in fact, we believe that this Texas Pavilion would be a marvelous addition to this. It doesn't preclude anything else. What we're trying to do is protect the building and let it be part of the plan, in which it hasn't been up to now.
Okay. Well, some of the people that send me emails and comments think that we have enough stadiums. We have the Alamo Dome. We have the Frost Bank Center, formerly AT&T Center, where the Spurs play, and we have the Freeman Coliseum. Mm-hmm. If they build another stadium, what are all these other stadiums going to be used for? And you may not know the answer to that question. I don't think anybody does.
I wish I did. It'd be an interesting conversation. But the whole point is, we're discussing the demolition of that building this summer. The decisions to build a new stadium, whether it's there or elsewhere, take your pick, is months, could be years off before we see anything needing to be used for putting in that location. And the warmness of how many people really want a new stadium, how many want to fund a new stadium, is really independent of this whole concern. Because if they decide to put in a new stadium, this doesn't preclude it from being in conjunction with existing building. I mean, it can be, it could be incorporated into it. I mean, it could even be a practice facility.
Right.
And, and as, have talked about this in the past, you're not going to put a lot of people in it, but you could certainly make great use of it, even for our wonderful Spurs. Because one of the things I don't want to see happen is, the integrity and the value of our Spurs, because we love them, is to have their character, tarnished because the city or UTSA say, we're having to tear this building down for the Spurs. It's not really true in this sense. The decision of where the Spurs have their future home is a separate distinction, because this can still be accommodated.
It could go somewhere else.
That's absolutely true. If they decide to build one more, it could be, I wouldn't even speculate as to where it might go.
I've been interviewing a lot of the candidates running for San Antonio mayor, and Project Marvel is something that each of them address in their own way. Tell us about how the current leadership, from your perspective, if you want to talk about this, city council, the mayor, how should they be approaching this type of project with the people in San Antonio?
Well, for the people of San Antonio to have input to it is a critical element, because right now it's sort of a tepid response to whole aspects of Project Marvel and what might come of it and how it might be funded. And so getting more engagement with the public, having inputs. In fact, it was Wednesday that we filed the lawsuit around 9 o'clock in the morning. Well, District 8, Manny Pelez, had a town hall out in the area, and Eric Walsh, the city manager, and Lori Houston, the city assistant city manager, they came and made a presentation about Project Marvel so people could see it and understand. And of course, we had, a conversation like, well, we can't really talk about certain elements, but they presented a lot of interesting things, but it's pretty much been driven and defined by the city of San Antonio and UTSA.
One of the things that upsets people is this has been tried before with the Alamo Dome. People say that all kinds of promises were made to develop the area around there.
That's right.
And that never fully happened. And so isn't that just going to happen again, where taxpayers have to fund the building of another stadium with no benefit to the public?
Potentially so. This is where both the county and the city of San Antonio get engaged, because the county owns the Frostbank Center, and they've made certain of those promises in the past. So they're having to come to terms with the expectations out of District 2 and how that comes to fulfill what was promised in the first place. And so the concern is, well, we start this one again. And I think that's why there's been some lukewarm reception to some of these elements.
People that have lived here a long time, they remember things.
Yes, they do. And there's some strong feelings about what was expected to happen on the east side as a result of the center going there. And they still certainly have the rodeo and the Coliseum for a number of opportunities. But that's one of the things that the city and the county both will have to come to terms with.
Right, and we have the Final Four college basketball tournament going on here today. I'm sure that there's lots of people downtown right now.
This is true. Yes.
So you can call in right now at 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867, Saturday, April 5th, 2025, talking with Louis Vetter, president of the Conservation Society of San Antonio, talking about the lawsuit that was filed against UTSA and City of San Antonio to stop the State of Texas Pavilion from being demolished this summer. We have a caller calling in, and so we're going to find out what his concerns are. Daniel is calling in. We just have to get him connected. Talking about the State of Texas Pavilion. Daniel, you're on the air live. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. I love the Spurs. I've always been a fan until they priced me out. But anyway, getting beyond that, they should raise their own money and maybe go to Austin. They might be happier there. But I hope there would be a museum. They tell you there'd be a museum for all the artifacts of Texas history. I just hope they keep their word. But something the city council has done for years is let the people know when something's going to happen almost at the last minute. And we get no input. But we have the taxes to pay for all these things. And if they get another stadium, that's the fourth one.
Right.
It's the fourth one. My goodness.
Yeah, I was thinking that to myself also.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's people behind the scenes, or more likely politicians, who'd wish to erase Texas history.
So besides your concern about the cost of building a stadium, do you think there's value at conserving the old State of Texas Pavilion building?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a place where all the regular people of San Antonio can go rather easily. And, there's a lot of people here who actually have some of their old family history in there. I know we do. It's on my mom's side. We've been here since outside the city since 1750, as far as we know.
Wow.
But oh well.
Well, thank you for calling the show.
Thank you very much.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Well, there's another perspective. He doesn't want to pay higher taxes for a fourth stadium.
Yes.
And he values the building itself, just like the first caller.
And I've been looking at the social posts such as this. I've gotten a lot of feedback, positive feedback, where they appreciate what the Conservation Society has done. It's taken a place in the ground where we need to be able to say, hold, let's make sure we're doing it the right way. And so by virtue of this pause, if the City of San Antonio and the University of Texas then have to go to the Texas Historic Commission and explain and get involved and hold the proper hearings, we could have a very interesting story about how figuring out how to incorporate it, not lose it.
Do you think we can get any of these people on the radio show, on Talk Law Radio, to explain to the people? I
would expect so. The reason being is we've got 28 candidates for mayor and an indeterminate number of candidates for the district. And I would start with the ones that are currently in office to see if they can share more of this.
So there's a challenge to you. If you're one of the leaders for Project Marvel, come on the show and talk to these listeners who are worried about losing the State of Texas Pavilion and the history behind it. We're going to have to take another break, but just remember, we're taking calls. We want to know what you think about the lawsuit against UTSA and City of San Antonio to stop the State of Texas Pavilion from being demolished. We want to hear your thoughts. What's the value in conserving anything? Should we just let the area be developed for economic prosperity? We want to hear from you. I'm Todd Marquardt on Talk Law Radio. Stay tuned. We're going to take a 1-minute break.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.